Thank you for your interest in this learning, Strategies for Fairness and Inclusion in Hiring and Selection. For more than 35 years, Be Equitable has been a recognized thought leader on the exploration of workplace bias. Be Equitable has delivered learning experiences to identify and address the harmful impact of bias within organizations to thousands of individuals across a broad range of industries in the U.S. and around the globe. Our content is grounded in the latest research from cognitive science, behavioral economics, and social psychology, and it is enhanced by engaging exercises that allow learners to confront their biases in real time, all within a psychologically safe and self-reflective environment. To be human is to have bias, and while we cannot eliminate bias completely, we can reduce its effects by building intentional and conscious awareness of our actions and the impact they have on others. As you reflect on your team's roles and responsibilities for making hiring and selection related decisions, it's important to recognize their essential role in ensuring that applicants are fairly evaluated based upon their skills, job requirements, professional achievements, and their ability to positively impact your organization. Ensuring fairness and inclusion in hiring and selection practices has long been essential to building strong, innovative, and high-performing organizations. In today's climate, shaped by increased external pressures, the shifting demographics of the workforce, and a heightened focus on being clear about our equity initiatives, these practices are more critical than ever. That's why Be Equitable built this 5-part micro-learning video series to support fairness in hiring and selection practices and processes. This video series was designed to meet all types of learner needs, meaning they can take what's needed. Learners can watch or listen to the videos in any order and at their own pace. Each video is approximately 3 to 8 minutes long. We also created a workbook to support learner needs, and learners can reference the corresponding section of the workbook as they complete each video for additional activities and resources. Next, I'll share highlights of the key concepts for each video. Video 1, Understanding Bias and Its Impact, is the longest video in the series as it introduces key concepts, including bias and the brain science behind bias, our identity and lenses, the ways in which we see the world, and how that impacts our bias, equity, and what happens when inequity goes unchecked in hiring and selection. The resources in the workbook include the key terms, a reflection prompt for exploring how our identities and the ways in which we see the world impact how we show up at work, and a resource on the difference between equality and equity. Video 2, Exploring Our Bias, explores more about how our personal experiences and identities shape our biases and how they show up in hiring and selection. We discuss the data meaning-making process and how that can impact the steps and tasks associated with talent practices, and recognizing we are often required to make quick decisions and take in a lot of information in short periods of time. We explore more about our lenses and how biases show up in hiring and selection practices. The key point here is understanding our lenses can help us disrupt our own bias and others' biases by allowing us to actively notice when those lenses might be shaping or influencing our decisions. We review types of biases that are prevalent in hiring and selection processes. Affinity bias is shown here as one example. In the workbook, there's a list of additional biases that may be present in the hiring and selection process and their definitions. The workbook also includes reflection questions, giving learners the opportunity to think more about their own biases. Video 3, Bias Indicators in Hiring and Selection, explores the bias indicators in hiring and selection practices and how to recognize when bias shows up. We anchor this video with an acknowledgement that each team member involved brings their own diverse perspectives and experiences to the process. And this means our goal is to leverage the valuable perspectives of team members while ensuring a standardized and equitable hiring and selection process for your organization. In this video, we discuss 6 bias indicators and share examples of what each one can look like in practice. The workbook includes an exercise where learners can practice recognizing their bias. Video 4, Fair and Inclusive Strategies for Hiring and Selection, reviews various ways learners can apply strategies to activate fairness and disrupt bias during the hiring and selection process. Each of the bias indicators has a corresponding strategy that you can employ. These strategies are meant to be used not only when you notice these bias indicators present, but also proactively to mitigate bias from making their way into the hiring and selection process. At Be Equitable, we've created an acronym to help learners remember these strategies, STARS. This video expands upon each strategy and provides practical guidance and best practices for utilizing each strategy. The workbook includes a reference page to all the strategies and associated best practices. Video 5, the pause model, introduces the Be Equitable pause model, another tool to practice disrupting bias. We remind learners of the meaning-making process, especially when we are taking in a lot of data and making meaning of that data. And we can pause before acting or making a decision that could greatly impact the overall quality and success of the hiring and selection process. And that oftentimes we'd be better served if we took a pause. Pause requires us to pay attention to what's happening, acknowledge our assumptions, understand our perspectives that are informing our bias, seek different perspectives, and finally examine our options and make a decision on how to move forward. In this video, we'll cover how using the pause model can help learners disrupt their biases when participating in hiring and selection. Learners can practice using the pause model with scenarios in the workbook. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demo. We'd love to talk about how this could be useful for your team. For information about this video series and deploying it within your organization, please reach out to us at hello@be-equitable.com.